Russia is facing a utility collapse due to severe frost, which the Kremlin doesn't admit.
Russia's Far East is digging out after historic snowfall. On the Kamchatka Peninsula, residents are facing the heaviest snow in more than 6 decades, with towering drifts swallowing cars, blocking homes, and turning city streets into walls of ice and snow.
Russia's extreme winter storms are a climate wake-up call the Kremlin is ignoring. In the past month alone, we have seen the most significant snowfall since 2001 in Kaliningrad, the heaviest snowfall in 30 years in Kamchatka, and the most significant snowfall in over 200 years in Moscow, followed by extremely low temperatures unseen for decades. These events have led to airport closures, massive traffic jams, road blockages, a state of emergency and blackouts in the Krasnodar and Murmansk regions caused by snowfall and power lines icing over. The winter of 2025-2026, with its cold weather events that hit Russia as never before, should be a wake-up call. Despite widespread climate skepticism and denialism, it is evident that a changing climate is a real threat to Russia. But here's what Putin won't tell you about the real crisis. Residents across Russia affected by unprecedented winter heating outages have expressed their growing frustration and urged local authorities to restore heating in their homes. While Putin spends billions attacking Ukraine's energy infrastructure, Russian citizens are freezing in their own homes because there's no money left to fix crumbling Soviet-era heating systems. Share this with everyone you know, because in Podolsk, a town some 30 kilometers south of the capital Moscow, at least 9,000 residents, nearly half of its population, were left in the cold when a heating main burst at a nearby private ammunition plant. It's a total disgrace. There is no heating and no hot water. We have to sleep in sleeping bags, Yuri, a local resident, said. We have had no heating for almost 6 days. Before we break down exactly what happened and why this matters so much, please make sure you subscribe to States Brief Network. We're giving you the real analysis. The Moscow region, where temperatures have plunged to as low as -20 degrees Celsius, as well as the Far East Primory region, the cities of Moscow and St. Petersburg Penza, the southern Voronezh and Volgograd regions, and others have all been affected by heating outages. In the Tver region, a group of residents filmed an appeal to President Vladimir Putin saying that they are freezing from the cold. We're literally being killed by the cold, a woman in the video said, adding that they have been sending requests to local authorities since September. This is some kind of torture and extermination of the population 100 kilometers from Moscow, she added. In Kamchatka, at least 2 people died in avalanches, and in the Krasnodar region, 14 people were hospitalized due to accidents. The exact number of casualties will only be known later. The harsh reality of a changing climate also complicates the Kremlin's Arctic ambitions. It is no longer unusual for some parts of Russia to experience snowfall only once a month or even once in many years. When snow finally does fall, public services are caught unprepared. In a country renowned for bitter winters, the chaos caused by this winter's snowstorms is both embarrassing and revealing of governmental dysfunction. Here's the real story Putin is hiding from you. Putin's economy has largely weathered Western sanctions imposed because of the war, but it's now more military-oriented than ever. More than 10.7 trillion rubles was allocated to national defense, according to a report by the Russian Finance Ministry. The same report shows that funding for housing and communal services was 881 billion rubles this year, up from 593 billion in 2021, but the budgeted allocation is supposed to go down to 381 billion in 2026. Fixing the existing utility networks would take tens of billions of dollars money that is not there because it's going to the war in Ukraine. A lot of money needed to be invested in it for peaceful purposes to fix it up and make it suitable for life in the 21st century, said economist Igor Lipsitz. But instead of this, the money went to the war. Residents of the Moscow region town of Elektrostal lit a fire in the street to draw the authorities' attention to the heating problem. It's impossible to stay in our houses. We're freezing, a group of women in the video said. We are sending complaints everywhere, but no one listens to us. We have portable heaters working in every room, but the temperature inside is still 10 degrees Celsius, Yelena from Podolsk said. The overall decay of Russia's municipal infrastructure surpassed 70% in 2022, the pro-Kremlin newspaper Izvestia reported. When asked about the latest heating outages, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov acknowledged the problems and linked them to poor municipal infrastructure, saying that people had to endure a lot of inconvenience in the cold and without electricity. Despite all the titanic efforts to update all housing and communal services systems, there's still a certain part that remains considerably deteriorated, Peskov said. These programs will continue, but it is impossible to update all pipes and all housing and communal services systems in 10-15 years. But while Russian citizens freeze, Putin keeps pouring money into attacking Ukraine's infrastructure. The largest incident occurred in Podolsk near Moscow, where 2,000 people were left without heating in minus 30 degrees Celsius temperatures. Even nearly 2 weeks after the incident, the local authorities have not been able to fully restore the heat supply. In Novosibirsk, an emergency left 14,000 people in 237 buildings without heating. In Lipetsk, 10,000 people in 282 buildings were affected. Significant emergencies have also been reported in Saratov, where heating was turned off in over 650 buildings and 100 social facilities, including schools and hospitals. The Russian federal budget for 2024-2026 indicates that funding for the housing and utilities sector will be cut by more than half. This isn't an accident. This is Putin's deliberate choice to sacrifice Russian lives for his war machine. 2 electric radiators were not enough to keep Russian pensioner Elena Grezkaya-Silko from shivering in her one-bedroom apartment. After 2 major utility network accidents in January, she struggled to stay warm at home in the Siberian city of Novosibirsk, where temperatures regularly dip below minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Her bedroom remained icy cold, forcing Grezkaya-Silko to seek warmth in the nearby shopping center during the day and stick close to her home's heaters in the evening, wrapping both herself and her cat in blankets. At least 21,000 people had power knocked out in their homes when a heating main burst at the Klimovsk specialized ammunition plant. Local authorities linked the heating problems to the fact that the town is heated by a boiler plant owned by the Klimovsk specialized ammunition plant, a private ammunition factory, and one of the largest weapon cartridge production enterprises in the country. The facility is under tight security conditions, which limits our ability to oversee winter preparations, the Moscow region's vice governor said. We were unaware of the problem for nearly a day. More than 100,000 people in the region have lost power at least once since the year began. Households in the Moscow region towns of Khimki, Balashika, Solnechnogorsk, Lyubertsy, and Elektrostal also experienced heating loss as a result of power outages, with temperatures in the area plummeting to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Think about the irony of Putin's war strategy. While Russia launches hundreds of missiles and drones to freeze Ukrainian cities, Russian infrastructure is collapsing from decades of neglect and war spending. In Podolsk, 170 apartment buildings were left without heat in minus 6-degree weather in early January after a break in the heating main. Putin reportedly did get involved, ordering the nationalization of the utility plant, whose boilers caused havoc there. Several incidents, including ones in Podolsk and one in Nizhny Novgorod, that led to 12 people being burned from a burst pipe, saw criminal proceedings opened. An unidentified Moscow region official and 2 senior executives at the plant were arrested on suspicion of providing unsafe services. In the neighboring Tver region, authorities opened a criminal case over the laundering of over 84 million rubles in residents' heating bills. Affected areas include the cities of Khimki, Balashika, Lobnya, Lyubertsy, Podolsk, Chekhov, Narofominsk. Other Russian media outlets reported that residents of Balashika, Elektrostal, Solnechnogorsk, Dimitrov, Domodedovo, Troitsk, Taldom, Orekhovo, Zuyevo, Krasnogorsk, Pushkino, Ramenskoye, Voskresensk, Losino, Petrovsky, and Selyatino are also without power. More than a quarter of Moscow's cities have been hit with power outages and a lack of heating. Residents of Selyatino have described the situation as some kind of struggle for survival. Power outages have also struck St. Petersburg, Rostov, Volgograd, Voronezh, Primorsky Territory, and Yekaterinburg. The director of the Klimovsk specialized ammunition plant, the head of its boiler room, and the deputy head of the Podolsk city administration were all detained. A preliminary investigation cited improper operation of the boiler room as the cause of the burst pipe and resulting outage. As a result, more than 170 apartment buildings, as well as numerous medical, educational, and preschool facilities, were left without hot water and heating, affecting close to 2,000 people. The most severe situation is seen in the Russian city of Podolsk, which has fallen into an icy trap. In Podolsk, the Klimovsk district, which is home to nearly 6,000 people, has been without power and heat. For more than 2 days, efforts to fix a rupture in a heating main located near the cartridge plant have been unsuccessful. The breakdown occurred when severe frosts hit the Moscow region, with temperatures plunging to minus 25 degrees Celsius and below. On community pages, people complain that temperatures inside their apartments are approaching sub-zero, with frozen radiators bursting en masse. Residents are forced to stay indoors clad in jackets, hats, and boots. Russian authorities have promised to normalize the situation as soon as possible. However, no progress has been observed. Extreme winter storms 2025-2026, hitting Russia unprecedented severity. Most significant snowfall 200 years Moscow, heaviest 30 years. Kamchatka since 2001 Kaliningrad. Airport closures, massive traffic jams, road blockages, state emergency. Blackouts, Krasnodar-Murmansk regions, power lines icing over. Climate wake-up call, Kremlin ignoring. Putin war spending draining infrastructure funds, Russian citizens freezing. 10.7 trillion rubles national defense allocated. Funding housing communal services cut 381 billion 2026 down from 881 billion. Money needed fix utility networks, tens billions dollars going war Ukraine instead peaceful purposes. Moscow region Podolsk, 49,000 residents, half population, left cold heating main burst ammunition plant. 6 days, no heating, no hot water sleeping bags, total disgrace. Temperatures -20 Celsius far east, Primory St. Petersburg, Penza, Voronezh, Volgograd, heating outages. Tver region residents filmed appeal Putin freezing from cold. Literally being killed by cold torture extermination population 100 kilometers Moscow, Kamchatka. 2 people died avalanches, Krasnodar 14 hospitalized accidents. Snowfall unprepared public services governmental dysfunction. Municipal infrastructure decay surpassed 70% 2022. Kremlin spokesman Peskov acknowledged problems poor infrastructure people endured inconvenience cold without electricity. Titanic efforts update systems considerable part deteriorated impossible update 10-15 years. Podolsk 2,000 people without heating -30 Celsius 2 weeks authorities cannot restore heat. Novosibirsk 14,000 people 237 buildings. Lipetsk 10,000 people 282 buildings. Saratov 650 buildings, 100 social facilities, schools, hospitals, heating turned off. Federal budget 2024-2026. Housing utilities sector funding cut more than half. Putin deliberate choice sacrifice Russian lives war machine. Pensioner Elena Grezkaya, Silko, Novosibirsk, -4, Fahrenheit 2, utility accidents, icy cold bedroom wrapping cat blankets seeking warmth shopping center. Klimovsk plant 21,000 people power knocked out. Ammunition factory largest weapon cartridge production. Facility tight security conditions limits oversight winter preparations, vice governor unaware problem nearly day. Over 100,000 people region lost power at least once. Khimki, Balashika, Solneknogorsk, Lyubertsy, Elektrostal, heating lost temperatures -20 Celsius. Podolsk, 170 apartment buildings no heat, -6 weather heating main break. Putin ordered nationalization utility plant boilers caused havoc. Nizhny Novgorod, 12 people burned burst pipe criminal proceedings. Moscow official, 2 plant executives arrested unsafe services. Tver region criminal case laundering 84 million rubles heating bills. Quarter Moscow city's power outages lack heating. Selyatino struggle for survival. St. Petersburg, Rostov, Volgograd, Voronezh, Primorsky, Yekaterinburg outages. Klimovsk plant director boiler room head Podolsk, deputy administration detained. Improper boiler operation caused burst pipe. 170 apartment buildings, medical educational preschool facilities, 2,000 people without hot water heating. Klimovsk district, 6,000 people without power heat. 2 days rupture heating main cartridge plant unsuccessful repairs. Temperatures -25 Celsius below. Apartment temperatures approaching sub-zero frozen radiators bursting en masse. Residents indoors, jackets, hats, boots. Authorities promise normalize no progress. One thing is absolutely certain. Putin's obsession with freezing Ukrainian cities has backfired catastrophically on Russian citizens. The Kremlin slashes infrastructure funding by more than half to pour 10.7 trillion rubles into war spending. Over 100,000 Russians lose heat in -20 to -30 Celsius temperatures. Crumbling Soviet-era systems burst across Podolsk, Novosibirsk, Volgograd, and dozens of cities. Pensioners wrap in sleeping bags with frozen radiators. Ammunition factories prioritize weapons over heating. Municipal infrastructure decay surpasses 70%. Residents film desperate appeals saying they are literally being killed by the cold. Putin has weaponized winter against Ukraine only to condemn millions of his own people to the same fate. Russia is now frozen from within by its own leader's war. Our update continues. Stay tuned.